We just got a new standard banner featuring Thorns and Hoshiguma as our 6 stars and Glaucus, Greythroat and Iris as our 5 stars. Before we get to the banner itself, make sure to support my channel by liking, commenting and subscribing. It really means a lot to me. I would also like to point out that I only talk about these operators' gameplay, waifus and husbandos over meta any day. You should always pull for operators you want and like instead of listening to me. I'm not your dad. Let's get to the banner itself. Thorns is extremely powerful, but we are about to get Texas Alter banner soon. I personally would recommend saving for the limited banner, but there is definitely an argument to be made that getting Thorns would add more power to especially newer players' account. So let's take a look at the operators. Starting with Hoshikuma, an extremely tanky defender who has a chance to resist all types of damage and provides additional defense to your other defenders when deployed. Her module gives her an extra block, allowing her to block 4 enemies. The module also increases her chance to resist damage and gives her an attack boost after resisting damage. It's a good module if you like using Hoshi's 3rd skill a lot. If you only use Hoshi's 2nd skill and use her to bait range attacks, the module doesn't really add enough value to be justified. Her future module further boosts the defense she gives to other defenders when deployed and gives Hoshi extra defense when blocking enemies. The second module is in my opinion way worse than the other one. You won't get much value out of the defender defense buff unless you're using multiple defenders every stage for whatever reason, and the defense buff while blocking just isn't significant enough. Moving on to her skills. Hoshi's 1st skill gives her a defense and attack buff. Her other skills are usually more useful, and you probably won't find yourself using the 1st skill in almost any situation. Her 2nd skill is a passive that gives Hoshi extra defense and allows her to deal damage to her attackers. It's a fairly unique skill and has seen lots of use in some past events, completely trivializing some annoying ranged enemies. The 2nd skill has become Hoshi's go-to skill for most maps you want to use Hoshi for. It's mostly used to bait ranged attacks while also killing squishy ranged enemies. And finally, we have her 3rd skill that gives Hoshi a large attack and defense boost and makes her attack all enemies on the tile in front of her. 3rd skill is a very high damage and defense skill, which is a bit unusual for defenders. It allows Hoshi to absolutely destroy large waves of weak enemies. However, defenders aren't really used for damage and aren't used much at all in the current meta, and while the skill specs are pretty decent, there are usually better options for the same purpose. It's definitely a great skill for those who do not have many strong operators, and it can absolutely carry you through many early stages. Let's have a quick summary. Hoshi is an extremely tanky defender and has a chance to resist all types of damage. She can also buff your other defenders when deployed and has pretty decent DPS with her 3rd skill. Her 2nd skill is pretty unique and has been extremely useful in a few past events when dealing with some very annoying ranged enemies, and her 3rd skill provides good burst of damage and defense. However, defenders aren't as useful in the current meta, and outside of some rare maps that her 2nd skill can completely trivialize, there are usually better operators. She is very beginner friendly and her 3rd skill can do some serious work in the early game. Overall, Hoshikuma is a good operator. She is extremely tanky and excels at baiting and completely negating certain hard-hitting and annoying attacks. She can deal okay DPS, but because of all the power creep, she is mostly used for her 2nd skill and dealing with annoying ranged enemies. She is very beginner friendly and amazing for those who do not have strong meta lane holders. And moving on to Thorns, a ranged guard whose attacks poison the target, dealing arch damage over time and restores a percentage of his max HP every second after not attacking for a couple seconds. His talents give him some welcome extra damage and self-sustain. The arch damage over time is especially nice, allowing Thorns to deal some extra damage against high defense enemies. Moving on to his skills. Thorns' first skill is a simple attack boost and realistically, you will not be using it, as Thorns' other skills, and especially the third skill, provide so much more. His second skill makes Thorns top attacking, gives him attack and large amount of defense, also allowing him to deal ranged damage when he is being attacked. The skill works somewhat well against large groups of weak enemies. Even in optimal situation, third skill will most likely outperform the second skill. And then finally, we have Thorns' third skill, that gives Thorns extra range, attack, and attack speed, and removes the damage penalty from his range attacks. After activating this skill twice, it becomes unlimited duration, and the stats from it get doubled. The skill makes Thorns deal massive amounts of damage with very good range. It allows Thorns to absolutely carry stages and hold multiple lanes. It's very AFK Knights friendly, and just an absolute beast of a skill that makes Thorns a very strong meta operator. Let's have a quick summary. Thorns is a ranged guard whose attacks inflict an arch damage over time. He can also regen a percentage of his max HP every second after not attacking for 2 seconds. He is insanely versatile meta operator and can be brought to almost every stage. He has extremely high range DPS, good range, and some self-sustain. He is also probably the best unit in the game for AFK Knights. However, he really needs his E2, and his offensive recovery third skill needs to be activated twice to gain its full power. Overall, Thorns is a must-have meta operator. He has extremely high range DPS, inflicts a dot, and can regen his own HP. His third skill has unlimited duration after the second usage, and can absolutely carry whole maps. Thorns will not only hold his own lane, but everyone else's lane too. He's pretty easy to use and beginner friendly, but really needs his E2. He isn't as good at killing bosses as some of the burst tier meta operators. And finally, let's take a quick look at Banner's 5 stars. Sadly, none of the 5 stars are really notable, and I cannot recommend 10 pulling for a 5 star. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe for more Arknights content. See you in the next video.